Just crack this baby open. Let's see what we got. This is by far the sketchiest thing I have ever assembled. What up guys, welcome back to another CJ5 Jeep rebuild video. We're gonna be hitting it hard again today, rebuilding the transmission and knocking out a few other to-dos that are in our way so we can fire this thing up for the first time very soon. We gotta get this transfer case cleaned up. It's so gross. I'm hoping there's less nooks and crannies to clean, but I don't think that's gonna be the case. We got random odds and ends here. As soon as these are in the Jeep, I will throw away the old. The transmission came out stinging amazing. I'm not sure if any of you saw the last video where we cleaned this thing up, but this thing looked as bad as this before we got started. So huge difference. Super happy to crack that thing open today. And then finally, our gas tank and stuff was fully painted, fully conditioned, ready to be mounted back underside the Jeep right here. But we do still have a bunch of other things that we need to knock out to get this thing started for the first time. We really need to change out the rear main seal on the engine right here. It's been steadily leaking oil even now, as you can see right there. So that pretty much confirms the rear main seal needs to be changed, but I don't think it'll be too bad. Hopefully we'll get it changed out. And then the real focus of this video is gonna be digging into this 4-speed transmission. I've never rebuilt a transmission before, nor have I even taken one apart, but I bought a kit to rebuild all the rings, all the bearings, and then we're gonna take a detailed look at all the teeth on the gears, make sure nothing's chipped or else I'll have to buy some more parts. So get ready, I'm sure this will be a fun one to watch. Now first things first, over here, we need to get this workbench cleaned off. So let's use some magic to clean this in 1, 2, oh. Check that out, all nice and clean, wiped off, ready to do some work. Check that out, oh so shiny, so fancy. I am super pumped to get this thing rebuilt. It's gonna feel so fresh and so new. Alrighty, just crack this baby open. Let's see what we got. Ooh, take a look at that. Let's put this off to the side. Got my little YouTube video going over here. Put the iPad in a Ziploc. Ooh, it stinks in here though. Thing reeks. I see some serrations on those teeth, but I think that's supposed to be like that because they're all like that. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna take a deep dive in the gears, make sure they all look good and there's no chips or anything, and then we'll continue along. Alrighty, I just went through all the gears here. They all look really good. I'm definitely gonna move forward with putting in the new synchro rings, all new seals, bearings, just to make sure we're good to go. But so far, so good. I just dumped some of the remaining transmission fluid. That stuff is so bad. Just got back from Harbor Freight. I'm supposed to use this bearing puller to pull this bearing out here, but super tiny, not gonna work. But I think I have the solution here. I have this giant bearing puller that should work a lot better. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to thread through here because it didn't come with like the full pulling kit, but we're gonna see what we can do and get this baby off.
One eternity later.
This is by far the sketchiest thing I have ever assembled. I got all these little pulling kits cobbled together to try to make something to work. I didn't have the right tools to pull this off, so let's see if this works. Oh, I think it's coming. Come on, baby. Oh, yes! Got it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this nasty thing worked. Holy smokes. I'm so happy to have this roadblock done. I have the bearing off, and I think I have a replacement for this guy. So let's go ahead and keep disassembling. Just pulled this whole stock of gears and bearings out. Luckily, I kept everything straight. All those gears look good, but take a look down here. Look at that, missing teeth. So probably a good thing I took this thing apart. I'll have to get a new one of these on order. Let's keep taking it apart and see what else we can find. We got this thing all apart, got all the gears laid out here. As we saw earlier, some chips are in this gear specifically, which I think this is called the idler gear or something like that. So I'm gonna do some more research, order up this gear right here. This one I think is good to go. I've tried to retrieve all the little needles here that fell out while I was working on it. I'm gonna look these up, make sure I have the correct number. Those are good to go. I've tried to keep all my pieces together. I am gonna have to wait on the gear here, but while we have this all apart, I am gonna continue going through and maybe even put these shafts back together with all the rebuild parts. That way everything's prepped and ready for reassembly when this new gear comes in. So let's keep taking apart and start swapping out some of these synchro rings over here. All right, we've been cranking away at the transmission, had a couple issues, but nothing too bad. One of the first things here, apparently this shift area can get worn down and then cause the shifter just to kind of be wobbly and not very tight. But looking in here, it actually doesn't look too bad. It feels pretty good, so I'm gonna go ahead and call that good to go. We actually worked through and put new synchro rings throughout this whole thing, and oh my goodness, these snap rings are horrible to get out and on. I'm sure you saw me struggling in the time lapse, but otherwise, all the synchro rings that we got out of the kit here, these are all the old ones over here. These have all been completely changed out. So that feels good to have done. I used some of the snap rings in here, and it looks like all the little needles are in here too, which I'm assuming I have to put back in as I reassemble the gears in the actual case over here. I just have to clean out the case and then wait for that part to come in. The case here is all clean. I'm gonna lay some of this out just so I remember how it lays all together when the part comes in, but taking it apart really wasn't horrible. The snap rings were a huge pain, but I'm assuming putting it back together is gonna be worse. If you're enjoying watching this crazy transmission rebuild, hit that like button. It does help a lot, and keep watching. Since we're waiting on parts for the transmission, we're actually gonna jump into the gas tank now, start bolting it back together. I'm not sure if we're gonna hang it under the Jeep. Maybe I'll hang it under there with just a couple of bolts or something, so we can start putting that stuff back together, cross those things off the list, and let's see what else we got to do. Just playing around with the brakes and noticed that this brake is moving with the pedal, but our other brake is not. Here, check this out. Nathan, would you mind stepping on the brake pedal for us? Oh yeah, good action. Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So that side, lots of movement. Coming over here though. All right, hit it again. Absolutely nothing. And this was actually really hard to get off. It was like it was frozen and locked up. So we're not getting any movement over here. So more parts to buy. I think this is froze up, so I need to buy a new cylinder. That way we get better working result. Also, notice the wheel stud here is very far off, not even in, probably not the right type, so gotta get a new one of those. We got the gas tank tightened up, looking really, really good here. And I was thinking on putting it on the Jeep, but I do have a lot of wiring to do yet, and I think some of the wires actually run up behind the bumper here. So I'm gonna hold off putting the gas tank in, and I think we're gonna go ahead and knock out one of the biggest to-dos I have on the engine, which is changing out the rear main seal. Now the rear main seal sits right up here between the flywheel and the engine, and obviously prevents oil from leaking out where it goes through. But like I mentioned earlier, it is a bit leaky, so we need to drain the oil, pull the whole oil pan off, which is probably gonna be super messy and gross, and then change out that rear main seal, put all new seals and everything in the oil pan, and then hopefully we have no leaks. The oil pan is off and it's not too messy, I think because it's been sitting a while, but now we gotta pull off these two bolts right here. That will give us access to the rear main seal, so we'll get that changed out and then hopefully get this thing cleaned up, because we're gonna have to remove all this nasty gasket, clean it up real good, and then get it all sealed up very nice. Man, this garage needs some help. Total disaster. I need to take a day off and just clean everything up. I hate having a dirty workspace, and it's gotten pretty bad. All right, the main rear seal has been replaced. Hallelujah. Really wasn't too bad. I torqued these down to 80 foot-pounds. Everything was pretty clean when I got everything kind of switched out, got the new seals in, so we should be good. I really, really hope this doesn't leak. Let's start scraping and cleaning the ridge here. Make sure we have good contact when we put our new oil pan gasket on, and then hopefully get her buttoned up. It is a lot of work cleaning out the gasket, but I think we got most of it. If you look here, it's just super smooth all the way around. And then if you look under here, this thing is looking sparkly clean. I think we're almost ready to get our giant gasket bolted into place. And if you look at the gasket I bought, this thing is so much more substantial than the one that was on there. So I really think it's going to grip better, not leak, and then obviously we changed the rear main seal, so we should be good there. Man, it feels good to have all these little projects taken care of, the gas tank sealed up. I feel like I've got all these little things that I need to knock out. Hopefully we'll have this thing back on the road soon. But unfortunately it's getting late, so that wraps up this video. We will be attaching the oil pan back on the Jeep in the next video. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already to catch the transmission being rebuilt in the next video. You won't want to miss it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. It does help a lot. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you in the next one.